I spent a year building my first 3D game, only for 54 people to play it during Steam Next Fest. There were no bug reports, no comments, just silence. Today, I'm going to share with you the raw stats, what I learned from this experience, and also a choice that I'm going to need to make, and I'll need your help to decide the future of BugSquash. Now, before we dive in, I just want to give a little bit of a context on BugSquash and how it all started. So, actually, the game idea came about a moment of frustration when I was chasing a fly around my house. And I realized this could actually be a fun game. Just trying to swat the fly, chasing pests. You get that very satisfying feeling when you actually finally catch that fly, right? So I started prototyping the game, and I then realized how much of a mountain I was about to climb. Because this was my first 3D game, development took a lot longer than I expected. The main tools I used for the graphical assets are Blender for the 3D models, trying to learn how to bring 3D models to life, trying to learn how to model because I had no idea what I was doing in Blender, and used Krita for the texturing and other 2D assets such as the GUI. So by the end of 2025, the core game was mostly finished. I knew that the Steam Next Fest was coming up in February 2026, so I made a goal for myself to aim to participate in that next fest. So I signed up and I spent the next month and a bit trying to polish the game for Steam Next Fest February 2026. Now, this was my first time participating in Steam Next Fest, so I was nervous, excited, but also very ready for feedback. I really wanted to see what people thought of BugSquash, but the reality is, was a bit of a disaster, to be honest. What I didn't realize was there were over 3,500 games participating in this Steam Next Fest, so it was incredibly easy to get lost in the noise. And here's how BugSquash landed. So, as you can see here, had a total of 54 players. I mean, honestly, still better than zero, so I'll take it. We got a total of 54 wish lists, and also we had one person who played and wish listed. Now, it is worth mentioning the wish list I went into initially was pretty low. I believe I was around 48 wish lists going into Steam Fest. So it's very low for the standards that you hear in the industry. But the effect of the Steam Fest is actually quite substantial. As you can see here, very low amount of wish list, and then bam, there's a huge spike here. It was a bit surprising to see. I more than doubled the amount of wish lists I had, and obviously it's still a low total amount of wish lists, but the effect is there. I almost doubled my wish list, right? So it's I would say that Steam Next Fest does provide a lot of good visibility for you as an indie game developer. Um, the unfortunate thing is there was the interest in the game was low to begin with, so the even though the effect is pretty good, it's not substantial enough to really make a big impact. So that's the unfortunate thing that I learned here. All right, now I want to show you what the stats look like for the demo for BugSquash. So the stats you see here right now are uh, up to today's recording. So today is the 10th of March, and Steam Next Fest did end roughly 8 days ago. So you're seeing a little bit more users than what I mentioned earlier in this video. We had 54 users, new players play the game, play the demo. Now we're up to 60. So people have still tried the demo even after Steam Fest. So there's something there, right? Um, Looks like at least 1,000 people did at least add the demo to their library. That's, as I understand, that's what the lifetime licenses mean there, the lifetime total units. So that's kind of cool, but at the same time, not many people have been playing it. I kind of get it. I see people do this a lot. I mean, I do this where I see a game, it's free. Okay, I'll add it to my library. I don't touch the thing. So it's perfectly fine. I understand, but thank you to the 60 people who did play. It's awesome to see that people are playing something that I created, and that's really uh the main goal that I want out of this. What I do want to dive into is the median time played. So the stats here, I mean, it's disappointing. I'm disappointed. A median time played of 6 minutes, most people seem to just open up the game and play one level, maybe two levels, and then they're done. And they decide they don't want to play anymore. So to me, that's a bad sign. It sounds like the demo or the game in general was just not good enough to hook a player. But again, that is just the median. If we look here at the buckets of users who've played, we see a little bit of a better set of numbers, but still not that great, right? Just looking at the time that people have spent playing, um, it looks like at least like close to half of the people who have played the demo at least played for 10 minutes. So that's some good sign, right? But then we start to lose interest very quickly here. We drop to 15% at 30 minutes, and then only 2% of people. So 2% of 60 people, that's like one or two people basically. It's barely much. Only played for an hour, so it's yes, it's a little disappointing. But this is kind of, in a way, it's feedback, even though no one's actually said anything to me directly, reported anything, no bugs or no comments. The fact that people are only playing for basically less than an hour, basically less than 30 minutes, but at least a little bit over 10 minutes, it means that there's just something missing. There's nothing hooking them into the game. So that's something I can take back. One thing that's kind of cool here is there are two people, and thank you to those two people who have actually played for more than 2 hours. That's, at least if I'm reading this correctly, that's what it says there. There's two people who've played for about 140 to 150 minutes. So amazing! Thank you for playing and spending time playing Bug Squash, and hope you enjoyed it. So it feels like on average maybe people are seem to be playing for about 30 minutes or so, and the median time played is quite low, but it's because the majority of people who um, tried to play the game, sounds like they didn't even bother launching the game. Almost, it's just they launched it, and then they decided, nah, I'm good, and they just closed it. So it's hard to really gauge the interest with the people here. It's possible that, because I've done it before too, where I launched a game and I just didn't have time to play, and I decided just I'll play later or something. Maybe something comes up, and then yeah, sure, my play time's like 5 minutes. So, but it doesn't really give a good gauge of how that player's interested in the game, right? So, I think, especially as a solo game developer, it's pretty tough. There's a lot of competition, especially now with AI and people using AI to accelerate how fast they're making games, and yeah, there's all this AI slop and whatnot. But the point is that even if there is AI slop games out there, there's still so many games, and I think this is why there are so many Steam Fest games this year. For this Steam Fest in February 2026, because AI's moved so fast that a lot of the reason why there's so many games this time is because just AI. Now I want to leave with you the big three takeaways that I have from this experience. First one is competition is tough. There's so many games now, so many games. And a simple idea is just not good anymore. You need to have a game that hooks the player immediately. Uh, there were over 3,000 games in Steam Next Fest. There's no way that they can actually put enough time to try all 3,000 games. It's just not possible. So you really need to hook that player immediately. But even though competition is tough, the thing is with the Steam Next Fest, it's like a mirror. It's really, because there are so many games out there, you're against so much competition. How your game performs in Steam Next Fest is really a reflection of how your game is. Because there's so much competition, if your game stands out, then you know that you have a hit on there, right? So mine was probably at the very bottom, 54 wish lists, 54 players, 60 people have played the demo so far, and 6 minutes of median playtime. Um, that tells me that I need some work on this game. Either the game doesn't have the audience that it needs, hasn't been marketed properly, or just isn't a good game, and you know what? I'm fine with that. It may not be a good game, and I have to understand that and work on it. And the third biggest takeaway is the thing is, even though the game is a failure in most aspects here, um, for me, it's still a pretty big success. It's so far looks like it's going to exceed the amount of wishlist that my previous game has gotten. My previous game, Lift Attendant, was actually a 2D game, and it's very basic graphics to be fair. It didn't do very well. With BugSquash, I decided I want to propel my skills. I haven't done 3D before. I haven't done anything really fancy with 2D assets either. I learned two new tools, Blender and Krita. And really, to me, the biggest profit is building those skills, building those new skills that will stick with me forever. And now, for my next game, I can use those skills I learned in Blender and Krita to make an even better game than what I made with BugSquash. All right, so what's next? Honestly, I'm at a crossroads. Part of me wants to start something new, but another part of me also wonders, is BugSquash worth saving? Could a few months of juicing the mechanics and redesigning the capsule art and maybe even building a community, could this save the game? Could this turn the numbers around? Here's where I'd love to hear what you think I should do with BugSquash. So option one, we start a rescue mission series where I spend the next few months overhauling BugSquash based on your feedback. Or option two, we bury the bugs. I take the experience that I got out of creating BugSquash, and we move on to the next project. So let me know in the comments which path you want to see. I'll also have a link to the BugSquash demo in the description, so you can go ahead and download the game, play it yourself, and let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.